country yet at this point. It was a bunch of provinces that had originally been kind of royal fiefdoms. And these political divisions were closely connected with religious divisions. So as he saw it, religion was definitely kind of a source of exclusion, political conflict. And so he had already at an early age began to see religion in terms of the social conditions and dynamics that it linked up with. Another thing that's incredibly important at this time is that Marx is deeply immersed in the philosophy of the time that was overrunning Germany, and that was Hegelian philosophy, that was attempting in some ways to be a non-religious philosophy of religion that saw kind of spirit or essence kind of driving the forces of history. And so Marx was already familiar with the philosophical criticism of religion and attempts to try and kind of understand religion in different ways. What's key for Marx, though, and this is the classic Marx, right, is that being steeped in Hegel and this idea in Hegel and Hegel's philosophical system, that ideas or essence drive history. And this is the key point of Marx, and if you haven't gotten this in a Marx class by now, you get it right now, is what Marx does is he takes Hegel. So Hegel sees that ideas produce history, so events, politics, economy, and Marx says, no way, that's not how it is. And famously, in his own words, he turns Hegel on his head, whoop, flips the Hegelian system to say what drives everything is the base. The economic base is what drives history, events, politics, economy, and importantly for our discussion today, it drives ideas. Okay, so this is the important point to get out of Marx, is that what he's most known for is basically kind of talking about this economic base and the characteristics of this base. But another important part of his theory is saying, well, how is it that what we see around us, so that's things like customs, common sense, laws, sermons, religious ideas, how is it that those things come to be? And for Marx, those things were merely a reflection of economic base. So because of this, ideas, or ideology as he called us, and this is an important word, ideology merely reflects the social relationships of the economic base and justifies the social relationships of the economic base. His example that he used, the metaphor that he used, was a camera obscura. Now you've probably done this experiment in elementary school before, and it's where to get a picture of someone, you take like a box and you poke a little hole. Oh, let me draw this a little better. You poke like a little hole in a box, boop, 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 and the sun's light comes into this box. You can hopefully see this right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Sun's light come into this box, and let's say you could put a little person in this box. You wanted to basically kind of get the image of a person. Well, what's happened is because the way the sun's light comes in, the image of the person that's projected onto the wall is upside down. Boy, I'm a horrible artist. So what Marx is saying is that ideas, ideology, are basically the image that is projected from a camera obscura. They don't tell us the reality of reality, i.e. they don't give us the picture upright and exactly how it is in reality, but they flip reality upside down, and so they obscure reality. So his basically idea with the quote of religion as the opium of the people is that religion is obscuring reality. It's preventing this is a strand of Marxism that most people know in terms of religion, is that it's preventing individuals from seeing reality, and it's glazing over reality. It's kind of helping people escape reality and kind of to these, in Marxist terms, these kind of mythological escapist dreams of religion that take us away from the work that needs to be done on social injustice in the world. So this, as you can imagine, was a fairly provocative way of thinking about religion, because what it does it does a couple things. It says religion is not about the gods. In a Durkheim sense, it's not about rituals or kind of shared meaning. No, for Marx, it's purely an ideological form that comes from the economic base, and the religion of an era does nothing but to legitimate that economic base. And the roots then of this, if you take it a step further back, is that humanity produces religion. So whereas we might look at Durkheim and see that religion is sui generis, coming from the relationships of a social group, Marx is much more cynical or nefarious in some ways, saying, well, it's not about some sort of dynamic that comes out of those relationships. Marx is saying, no, it's actually produced as a way to just try and legitimate the world. So there is no divine spark, if you will. There is not even a social spark from a Durkheimian sense that accounts for religion. No, for Marx, it's purely just produced by humans as a way for humans to kind of explain away the state of affairs in the world. Now, Marx never really kind of takes a look at the details of religion. You might even pick this up from that short reading. Marx never spends any time talking about different world religions and how those religions connect to their societies. He never really kind of talks about any biblical passages. He never actually talks about the guts of religion, which is too bad, because he kind of misses in his own kind of project an attempt to kind of show that his argument is true about religion. What he ends up doing really is giving us a functional definition of religion. Religion, whatever the religion is, functions merely to justify and legitimate this economic base, to take reality, to flip it upside down, to make us confused about reality then, and to make us be able to escape the suffering of reality. But there's a catch here. And the catch is the other part of what Marx says about religion, and it's actually in the same quote about opium of the people in that reading that you read. And Marx says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that religion is also an expression of suffering. The sigh of the oppressed creature. And the reason why I say this is a catch is that most people hear the opium part, religion as opium, of Marx, and think he's only talking about religion as escapism and false and as a drug to kill the pain. But this other part of the quotation from Marx says no, there's another piece of religion, and that is religion is actually expressing suffering. So religion points to reality, which Marx is trying to say reality in the 1800s, and what he's examining is capitalist conditions that are based on inequality, the inability of the proletariat to control its own means of production, this sort of thing. Marx in this quote is saying, well, actually religion can point to reality, because a lot of religion, as he understands it, is about discussing suffering, discussing pain, and all these sorts of things. So religion, even though in Marx's sense, religion kind of gives an upside down or incomplete view of things, because religion thinks that God is driving the events, whereas Marx thinks that no, it's the social conditions of our societies that are driving events. Even though Marx still has a problem with religion that way, he is suggesting that religion is pointing towards something real. So religion is pointing towards, or is expressing, the fact that things aren't right in terms of social relationships. But what Marx says is that the problem is religion can't really understand why these conditions are the way they are, and that religion can't overturn those traditions, okay?